Hello, on this episode of The Average Tabletop Gamers, I'm going to be looking at some NHS charity figures. Hello, it's Sven here, and today on the episode we're going to be looking at some NHS charity figures. So these are figures that a couple of games companies have produced in order to raise proceeds and money for the NHS charities. As you know, in the midst of a global pandemic, the National Health Service in Britain is getting hit quite heavily with this, and there's a lot of charities involved with the NHS. All of the NHS is government funded. There are a lot of charities which work with the NHS, and so there's some fundraising being done by these miniatures companies just to basically help out where they can. So we're going to be looking at two particular figures today. One is a an intended for something like bolt action 28mm nurse, intended for use with either British or a Canadian army in bolt action, for example. And the other one is the figure that Warlord have just produced, which is their own NHS tribute figure, which is essentially a celebration of Captain Sir Tom Moore, who, if you remember rightly in the news, was the veteran who committed to walking 100 laps of his garden before his 100th birthday, and he was hoping to raise £1,000, and he actually ended up raising £30 million for the NHS charities. And so he was knighted by the Queen, and Warlord have chosen to try and pay tribute to him in best they can. So Warlord have published as well through the website and then newsletter and things about this figure. They did want to name it after Captain Sir Tom Moore. However, they're in talks with his family trust, you know, the people that look after him now, essentially, and look after the work that he's doing and the charity foundation that he has, to see if they can actually use his name. So for the moment it is just called the NHS charity tribute figure. So I'm just going to move to the close-up camera because obviously these are some small minis, and I'll show you those now in a bit more depth. So the first miniature I want to look at here is this one from Empress Miniatures. So they put this out about 6 weeks ago maybe, and I think I picked it up as soon as it came out. And this is one, as I say, is of a Canadian Army or a British Army nurse. Although you could, you know, this is a nurse, you could use this as like any of the other sections of the forces where women were serving throughout the army. So, you know, there was a lot of mechanics in the motor pool and things like that. However, this one here was based on a black and white photograph of a group of British Army nurses. I'm sure they were British Army nurses that were you know, posing for the camera with their enamel mugs. And so it's a lovely little sculpt full of character based on the photograph. And if I can get that photograph, I'll put it up on screen so you can see the inspiration for that alongside the mini now. I'll see if I can get some better photographs as well, because I realise that this probably isn't focusing so well on this miniature here. But it's a lovely little mini, and I say this one was only £5, and I say all proceeds of this one went to the NHS charities, which was fantastic value for that, and great work for Empress for doing that. I love this miniature, and I think this is going to fit nicely with a British Army, and I'm looking forward to get this in and putting it in there, you know, using it as a medic just for a bit of character. Or again, you know, you could use it if you're playing any of the Operation Sea Lion, Operation Gigant missions. You know, it'd be good to have maybe as a home guard character or personality as well. So a lovely little miniature. I really like that one from Empress. So that's the Empress miniature that they produced. So Warlord's contribution to the NHS, as I said earlier, you know, it's just called the NHS tribute figure at the moment, was this one that they've done of Captain Sir Tom Moore, or inspired by Captain Sir Tom Moore at the moment, until they, you know, can, I think, say that it is based on him or use his name in their production. So I literally just got this today. So let me crack this open. And there's two variants of this in the blister pack. Because Tom Moore himself was a tanker, we've got a standing single miniature version, and we've got a mount for a tank. So if we have a look there, we've got a lot of detail, a lot of character. So we've got him there leaning up against or standing with his foot up, and again a common theme here is he's holding his mug, and he's got his beret there, and he's quite clearly, you know, in a at ease pose. So it's a nice little character model to use. And again, even if it doesn't hit the battlefield, you'll definitely be used as a nice display model to go with some of the other display models I've got from the bolt action or 4 bolt action, like some of the Historicon models and things like that. I just think it's a really nice character model with a lot of flavour and a lot of backstory behind them as well, which is one of the things that Warlord do like doing with their miniatures. The one which will get more use in the game, I think, is this variant, which is the Tank Commander variant. So let's see if I can show you him there. So we've got a version of the same model where he's got his comms set and his mic, and he's obviously designed to be mounted into the cockpit of, or the turret I should say, of a tank. And that's where Warlord have bundled this up. So they've done a bundle of this, including an M3 Lee, which I believe is the tank that Captain Satomo was associated with during the war. So you can now basically use him as a tank commander alongside the M3 Lee. So I opted for that because it's a tank I quite like, and it's one that I don't have in my collection. And it'll so, you know, it's just going to make me now put this inside or put this into my British Army collection. So as I say, and again, this is a standard M3 Lee kit. There's nothing special about this in terms of the kit from Warlord. So, you know, it is a multi-part resin and metal kit. So I'll show this anyway, just because it's part of the bundle, and if you're wondering what you get in that as part of this. So we get a nice resin hull, one-piece hull. Again, usual kind of standard you'd expect from Warlord. There's always a little bit of these clean up these pegs that you've got to kind of file off and cut off. So do bear that in mind if you're ordering this bundle, that it is a resin kit, and so you need to know how to work with resin if you're going to build this. And then obviously we've got resin track pieces. Again, you're going to need to do some cleanup on those. And we've got the turret mount itself, but then we get some white metal. So you'll see that the M3 Lee kit does actually come with some crew figures. So we've got some variant barrels. Oh, we've got the barrels. We've got the sponson mount itself, the cupola, with the coaxial mounted gun there. They look like the tow hitches, I think, or some kind of extra detail for it. I'll work those out soon. We've got a hatch, of course, and then, as I say, we get the crew. So we've obviously got the driver, who's you can model sitting outside of the cab, and then it looks like we've got a couple of options of commander. So you can see there that if you contrast those with the special edition NHS tribute model, that they're going to fit nicely. And I mean, what you could do, obviously, you know, if you can't make your mind up, is just do the usual magnetize those, and then you've got the choice of putting them in or out of the tank, and choosing which one you want to use. So as I say, that was offered as part of a bundle with the Captain Moore, or the NHS tribute model, to get the M3 Lee. So I opted for the bundle because I wanted the M3 Lee, but I think if we go back to the actual the bit itself where you get the models, the actual figures themselves. So yeah, we've got the standing at ease, enjoying a beverage, and we've obviously got the in action, riding in his tank, shouting out instructions down to his driver, or maybe two other tanks in the platoon, which is a nice touch to give you both, given you can be using both context. And then, as I say, if you contrast that with, or you compare that with the Empress miniature, it's a nice selection of miniatures, again, all for a good cause, all to support the NHS charities. So we've just had a look at the miniatures themselves there, and obviously the bundles that they do. So I say we have the Empress nurse, Empress miniatures nurse, and we've got the NHS tribute model inspired by Captain Sir Tom Moore that Warlord have produced. And of course, as I said there, when we're looking at the close-up, including the Tank Commander version of him. So as I said, these miniatures have been produced with the proceeds being directly passed on to the NHS charities. So the Empress miniature, the British or Canadian nurse, is going to retail, sells at £5 with the proceeds going to the NHS charities from Empress miniatures. I'll put the link below down to that nurse as well. Again, if you're going to be buying these, what I would always say is, and it's what I did, have a look at the site as well, because if you're going to be paying the postage on this, and the companies themselves are donating their time and money to producing these figures for the charities, go and have a look at what else they've got. I used the opportunity of buying this, or I went to the website to buy this, and I took that opportunity to buy a bunch of Empress's amazing Vietnam US Marine Corps models. So they're sitting in my build and paint pile now, but I wanted this figure. This is the one I wanted. I wanted to do my bit and help the charities, as well as scoring a really nice figure. With the Warlords version, the NHS tribute model, where you get the Tank Commander and the At Ease version, it's £5 for those two bits of model, those two figures. £5 from those. And if you want to bundle that up with the M3 Lee, like I did, to get the M3 Lee plus the two figures, it's £27.50, which again, as I say, is a fantastic value. And again, you're passing money on to the NHS charity, so the money's going to a good cause. And as I said, with the Empress miniatures, while you're there, because obviously you're going to be paying the postage, you might as well have a look and pick up some extra bits. So I bought a few extra bits and bought from Warlord just to get me into the free postage zone while I was there. And again, these companies are spending their time and money to help the charities, so I figured I'm going to help them, and support these companies, especially right now. Give some money to the smaller companies like Empress and things as well, if you can. So that was my look at these NHS charity figures. Tell us what you think about the charity models below. If you've already got them, you've painted them up, why don't you head across to the Average Tabletop Gamers support group on Facebook. Show us your pictures of your charity models in there. If you're a company and you're doing some models, some figures, or some kind of thing like that that'll help, that's going to be also raising awareness or making money for the charities, let us know about it, and obviously we can let people know where to go and find your product as well. But yeah, as I say, two absolutely phenomenal miniatures, lots of character in them. I'm glad I bought them. I'm going to get them painted up. They're going to should have pride of place in amongst the rest of my bolt action armies, and I look forward to getting them onto the table, or getting them into the display cabinet, as it might be. So yeah, so remember, you can check us out on Facebook. I've already mentioned the Average Tabletop Gamers support group. We've also got the Facebook page. We've got Twitter and Instagram, which should all be linked below. I'll get these painted up and I'll get the pictures put on Instagram so you can see them. And while you're here on YouTube, why don't you make sure you give the video a like, share it around with your friends in your gaming groups, make sure you subscribe to us, and of course hit that notify bell just to make sure you're kept up to date with all the videos here from us at the Average Tabletop Gamers. So thanks for watching and spending the time with me to have a look at these NHS charity figures. We'll see you soon with more videos here at the Average Tabletop Gamers. Thanks now.